taught as pointless pretension.
You guys are right. She spins like a Beyblade. They just said wings of freedom. She's a cat. She's Levi from Attack on Titan.
Achievement of his self-taught blade work. He strikes with the force of the
Wait, does he create a room like Law from One Piece?
His attack produces a field called
Expansion domain. I'm here live over on twitch.tv/chocolate Kieran with my Twitch chat. We're about to react to the rest of the collected Miscellany. I'm finally going to see all the skills and abilities. We also have Yunjin and Shenhe added as well, so I'll get to see the newer characters. I could also maybe potentially pull them as well if I'm lucky next week, so we'll see. The character I'm most excited about seeing is Eula, because she looks so cool and graceful, and she seems like she's kind of close quarters, which is really my thing, so I can't wait for her. Of course, I want to give a huge shout out to Nick Reiser, Cheeseblaze, and Saito Med. Thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate it. Don't forget, you guys, if you want a shout out at the start of the video, make sure to subscribe. You may see yourself there. You never know. All right, so first one is Rosaria, and I actually have this character because when I downloaded to try and get cock on me, I somehow got Rosaria.
Rosaria.
Sister Act,
Despite
we
being
see you.
A priestess, she has never been witnessed offering prayers to the gods.
She don't look like Whoopi Goldberg to me, though.
Active in the darkness of Mondstadt's night. She belongs to a clandestine side of Mondstadt, brandishing sharp blades under the moonlight.
She is basically like Batman, but a nun. She's Bat Nun.
In exchange for the people's
Yo, look at her running.
Peace, the non-believer is tasked with purging the filth that no light will touch.
Looking at her already, I'm glad I have her.
City blessed.
Like, she looks like she's fun to play.
Sleep soundly.
Pray, not for the gods nor the betterment of others, but for yourself.
Rosaria has powerful.
Damn, she said, I'm coming for you. You better pray.
Wielder of a cryovision.
Oh, she's cryo.
Mental burst can provide continuous cryo damage,
Oh, that's dope.
assisting the party with damage output and field control.
I think some of you said not to get
Rosaria is in the
not Eula,
Ganyu
Ganyu or Shenhe unless you have a cryo user.
This effect cannot be applied in domains, trounce domains, or the spiral abyss.
That's cool though.
Rosaria's normal attack performs up to 5 consecutive strikes.
Oh, she looks so fun.
Physical damage to enemies.
Even though she's like a physical attacker, she seems like she has a bit of range.
Rosaria to consume a certain amount of stamina to lunge forwards, dealing physical damage to enemies in her path. Tapping Rosaria's elemental skills.
Ooh, the swiftness.
Behind her opponent. She then pierces and slashes the enemy with her polearm, dealing cryo.
Yeah, she looks really fun.
Ravaging Confession can be used to quickly approach an enemy, identify an advantageous position.
Why is it called that?
It can also be used to dodge enemy attacks, allowing you to turn the tide of battle.
That's clever. I like multi-use moves.
That Rosaria cannot use this ability to move behind larger enemies.
Oh, that's annoying. Those enemies seem to work similar to the big guys in Kingdom Hearts, the big Heartless.
From behind with Ravaging Confession, her crit rate will increase for a short period of time.
Lights out.
Lights out. She's literally just a nighttime nun.
Rosaria swings her polearm around her, striking all nearby foes.
Nice. Beyblade move. Beyblade move.
The ground, dealing cryo damage. While the Ice Lance is present, it will intermittently emit a freezing chill, dealing cryo damage to nearby enemies.
Wait.
Strategically
That's actually really cool.
Through elemental reaction,
I wonder if that can work with Venti's ability.
or inflict even greater damage upon enemies.
Like, you know how Venti has, like, Venti's ult allows you to use elemental combinations with others?
All party members except for Rosaria receive a temporary increase to their crit rate based on Rosaria's own
Nice.
crit rate. Rosaria
Kaya looks kind of fun to play too, actually.
Turns daytime idleness into the biting blades
Oh,
of
the axe kick.
plunge into the bones of the guilty. As the battle begins, coordinate attacks with the other characters in your party, and use elemental skills to trigger elemental reactions. At the same time, quickly shift behind the enemy.
What's that ghost thing in the back?
Normal
The green thing?
When Rosaria's energy is full, use her elemental burst to inflict continuous
The enemy can't do anything. That's so evil.
increase attacks from the talent Shadow Samaritan to assist the other party members in swiftly defeating foes.
That's really cool, though.
Mondstadt's
She seems
nights
really
are
useful.
Peaceful and tranquil, but in the quiet of the dark, there are those who glimpse a flash of cold steel.
Ooh, just like
This is
Zhao.
our sister who meets
But she
our
takes damage
punishment
doing that, right?
to protect this place of peace and the sisters who are purity incarnate. Unperturbed with dirtying her hands, she has become a blood-soaked executioner.
Her hair is
Having
literally red
witnessed the
too.
cruelty of this world, she can no longer close her eyes and extol the blessings of the gods. Rosaria, the most unique sister in Mondstadt's Church of Favonius,
Could not catch me on that cliff.
redemption from the gods, for she grasped it with her own hands.
Interesting. I really want to know more about her story. Like, I love how they end these off, and you're always curious to see more about the characters. Like, it's just not explaining everything. All right, it's time to lawyer up. We got Yan
Is
Fei.
both the nation of contracts and the beating heart of trade in Teyvat. Its laws are rigorous and exhaustive, serving as pillars of order in a fluid population.
That's kind of funny. I hope she's not the only lawyer.
Memorize and abide by all the laws of the land number few indeed. Accordingly, when civil disputes and criminal proceedings arise,
So she's a
the first
pyro
port of
user.
call for many is Liyue Harbor's famed legal advisor, Yan Fei.
Oh, okay. So she's like the best lawyer.
Only by adhering to the law can the people solve life's myriad of problems.
Has her weapon got a whole
Honored
scale on
as
it?
Liyue's top legal expert, Yan Fei knows the law like the back of her hand, as well as how to bend it, balancing legality
I respect
with
it.
humanity. Her expertise routinely resolves the most intractable of disputes.
She's kind of like Daredevil.
Confronted by those who act with flagrant disregard for the law, it is Yan Fei's command of fire and flame that will place them in jeopardy.
So she just shoots out fireballs from her hands?
As Liyue's most sought-after legal advisor, Yan Fei provides
place looks
legal
beautiful.
support across the whole of Liyue, which is allowed
Does
her to
Mondstadt not have any lawyers,
its
or?
hidden corners. Having mastered the legal codices, she is well versed in the various local specialties traded by the waterfront. When Yan Fei is in the party, the location of resources unique to Liyue appear on the minimap,
Oh, okay.
making
So
it easier to gather certain items.
she's only really useful in Liyue when it comes to her
Normal
passive
attack
ability.
Casts a fireball and can be comboed to deal up to 3 rounds of pyro damage. Hitting an enemy with a normal attack. grants
enemy
Yan Fei
reaction's so
a
funny.
single Scarlet Seal. She can
Scarlet
possess
Seal?
a maximum of 3 Scarlet Seals at a time. Gaining a new Scarlet Seal resets the duration of existing seals.
What do the seals do?
Each Scarlet Seal decreases Yan Fei's stamina consumption. And
That's
they will
pretty dope.
disappear when she leaves the field.
That's
Holding
cool.
The attack button consumes a set amount of stamina and releases a charged attack, dealing AoE pyro damage in the area in front of her.
Oh, she dropped the gavel on him.
Seals held by Yan Fei.
She's
are
dropping the
consumed when a
law.
Charged attack is released, and the AoE and damage of this attack are increased based on the number of
I
Scarlet
see.
Seals consumed. After unlocking the talent Proviso, when Yan Fei consumes Scarlet Seals with a charged attack,
Was it
each
Keqing that
Scarlet
had a
Seal will
similar
increase Yan Fei's pyro
a
damage
similar
by
weapon to
1%.
Yan Fei here?
If she uses a charged attack again during this period, it will end the effect.
Okay. Wow, I love the detail that you can even see the stamp on the ground.
Wits aid her in singling out opportunists and lawbreakers, whilst the adeptal power that resides within her helps when it comes to serving out justice. After unlocking the talent Blazing Eye,
Okay.
Yan Fei's charged attacks deal crit hits. She will deal an additional bout of AoE pyro damage.
There really is a lot to consider in this
Fei's
game.
elemental skill to summon blistering flames that deal AoE pyro damage. Hitting an enemy
I know,
with
that's
her
so cute.
elemental skill grants Yan Fei the maximum number of Scarlet
Someone needs to
Seals.
teach the hilly Charles how to
She can use
drop,
to
stop, and
unleash a
roll.
follow-up charged attack, keeping the ball firmly in her court.
Inadmissible evidence!
I like how on the nose some of the attack names are.
Triggers a spray of intense flames that rush at nearby enemies.
Like even with Rosaria earlier.
AoE pyro damage, and granting her the maximum number of Scarlet Seals, as well as applying brilliance to her.
Okay, so it basically just super buffs her.
A Scarlet Seal at fixed intervals. It also increases the damage dealt by her charged attacks.
Similar to Klee, she seems like a little more technical.
Brilliance allows Yan Fei to increase her Scarlet Seal accumulation rate and string together charged attacks, dealing greater damage to her enemies.
Like it's not even just that
Yan Fei's flaming
she has a
seals
string of
are
attacks, but
powerful
she has to
legal
buff herself
and
up
her terms of
to be
use
at her
ensure
best.
that they bolster her position in any form of dispute. By first accumulating Scarlet
She's Pyro
Seals,
Ningguang?
then
So
following with
Ningguang
an
works
enhanced
similarly.
charge
That's
attack,
interesting.
Yanfei can rule decisively on enemies
The freeze frame.
During battle, Yanfei can alternate between normal attacks and her elemental skill to deal pyro damage to enemies.
Okay.
Gain Scarlet Seals. With Scarlet Seals in her possession, Yanfei can release powerful charged attacks to put the enemy on the back foot. When Yanfei's energy is full, unleash her elemental burst to further
And then,
increase her
yeah, there we go, yeah.
At this stage, Yanfei needs only to release regular charged attacks to rout her enemies once and for
I
all.
wonder how popular a character she is. I feel like I haven't really heard too much about Yanfei overall.
Though part illuminated beast, she never signed a contract with the GOR Con.
Part illuminated beast.
Unconstrained by Adepti responsibility, she keeps herself busy in the city, experiencing all manner of worldly affairs, comprehending all levels
So
of
she's like a half
In her
Adepti?
hands,
Is that what that means?
legal codices are a contract, a tool, a framework of reason.
Because I'm just... Are these scales that are on her side in her hand?
She longs for a free-spirited life well within the confines of the law. But each detail of the cumbersome legal codices is also dear to her heart. Perhaps one day, a balance can be struck between them.
She's like a Libra, dude. Balance. Even at the scales. Honestly, her ending kind of seems like the most wholesome so far, you know? Like, I wasn't left like, oh, that's depressing. All right, Eula's the one I'm most excited about because she seems close quarters
Ever
and she
since
seems like
the
a fun
first knight
character.
of Favonius rid herself of her chains, the winds of freedom have carried the fight against oppression.
Wings of
to every
Freedom?
corner
Like
of
Attack on
Mondstadt.
Titan?
Yet today, among the ranks of the knights sworn to champion freedom, there walks a
Look at her
descendant
run.
of the former tyrannical aristocracy. Eula, the progeny of an infamous lineage with vengeance
I
always
want
on her
Eula.
lips, is the captain of the Knights of Favonius Reconnaissance Company, the Spindrift Knight, supremely
Spindrift.
blade. Her controversial
That's an
fate
epic title.
leaves many wondering why the knights would accept her. Perhaps because the songs of freedom woven into the Mondstadt winds first asked, why not?
I mean, she seems like a good person to me, though.
Naturally, Eula earned her captaincy with her superior capability.
That's why she's a Spindrift. Look at her.
Masterfully
Beyblading
combining
it up.
Favonius blade work with cryomagic.
Wait, why is she
Full
beating up
frost at
squirrels?
The tip of her blade, which she wields with the cadence of a dancer. Waltzing gracefully.
I love
back,
that. I love that
she can strike
they
swift
made her like a
flashing
dancer but also a fighter at the same time. Like, it's so graceful. Like,
Eula
she's really fun to
derives
look
no
at.
additional status in Mondstadt from her once noble lineage, but finds herself the victim of a strict and outmoded education. She
Wait.
dismisses what she was taught as pointless pretension.
You guys are right. She spins like a Beyblade. They just said Wings of Freedom. She's a cat. She's Levi from Attack on Titan.
Yet is unable to escape its influence entirely, often subjecting
graceful
herself
she
to
is.
meticulous introspection. When Eula crafts talent level up materials, she has a chance to double the output, boosting the party's adventure readiness.
Adventure readiness. What does that mean?
Eula's normal attack can combo up to 5 strikes.
Is that like an
deal
actual
physical
stat in the
damage to
game?
enemies. Holding the attack steadily consumes stamina, while Eula unleashes a rapid string of slashes, also dealing physical damage.
Look how big
When
that
her
weapon is
charged
too.
attack ends, she unleashes a powerful strike that launches
got a whole
smaller enemies
claymore.
within her range.
Was that weapon that big before? Or am I crazy?
Tap Eula's elemental skill Ice-Tide Vortex to perform a rapid slash that deals cryo damage. When the slash hits an enemy, Eula gains 1 stack of Grimheart. The
Grimheart.
effect has a maximum of 2 stacks. Grimheart increases Eula's resistance to interruption.
Oh,
and
that's
defense,
cool. So she can
creating
continue
optimal
spinning to win.
conditions for her to dish out damage. Holding Ice-Tide Vortex causes Eula to consume all stacks of Grimheart and perform a spinning frontal
I love
slash
that attack.
that deals AoE cryo damage.
That looks strong.
If this attack consumes Grimheart stacks, it will decrease the physical and cryo resistance of surrounding enemies.
Oh, that's dope.
Each stack of Grimheart
A
consumed
lot of
will
characters seem
convert
like they
to
have
an
stuff to
ice
buff up their own attacks.
dealing cryo damage to nearby enemies.
Flood of Frost.
That looks fun.
Eula's elemental burst unleashes a mighty slash of her sword, dealing cryo damage.
Okay,
to
but it
surrounding
leaves
enemies
that
and
behind?
throwing a
What's that?
Lightfall sword that follows her around.
Right, okay.
While the Lightfall sword is present, Eula's resistance to interruption is increased further.
So she can be attacked while attacking just fine.
By Eula's normal attack,
That's cool.
elemental skill, or elemental burst, the Lightfall Sword's energy is charged.
So it's an attack and like a resistance to staggering buff at the same time.
Explode violently, dealing physical damage to surrounding enemies.
That's a pretty fun attack.
The damage dealt
that seems really
increases
useful.
with the Lightfall Sword's charge stat.
Oh.
When Eula leaves the field, the Lightfall Sword will instantly explode.
Oh, so you can time it to explode when you want by switching out. That's cool.
When Eula holds Ice-Tide Vortex, if two stacks of
These enemies are kind of funny to me.
together, a shattered Lightfall Sword is created and explodes immediately.
Like, they're very reminiscent of the
dealing
enemies
half
in
base
Breath of the
physical
Wild.
damage of the Lightfall Sword.
The Octoroks?
Years of reconnaissance company campaigns have honed Eula's instinct for launching surprise offensives. When she strikes, waves of frost and rays of light surge forward
I mean,
like ocean spray.
would it be a surprise if you just feel cold air coming your way?
Wellspring of Warlust, casting Eula's elemental burst immediately grants one stack of Grimheart and resets the cooldown of her elemental skill.
That elemental burst might be like the most anime one I've
Knight's
seen.
battleground is the shadows far beyond Mondstadt's city walls.
Yeah, her ultimate looks broken to
Eula's
me.
strength is in hunting down her enemy with courage.
Oh, there's
and
so much going on.
striking with her frosty Favonius blade work. In combat, Eula often
Oh, wow,
swings
this
the
enemy is
offensive with her
interesting.
normal attack, interspersing her strikes with the tapping effect of her elemental skill to keep up the pursuit and accrue Grimheart stacks. Next, holding her elemental skill at an opportune moment will deal damage to her enemy, while also reducing their physical resistance
Beat him
by
so bad he
Grimheart
stood back up. He was on the floor. She
When
she
Eula's
beat him to his
energy is
feet.
full, unleashing her elemental burst puts further pressure on the enemy and creates a Lightfall Sword. Now is the
Nice.
time for a rapid offensive. To charge
There
the
we
Lightfall
go.
Sword and finally take down
And then the
enemy
explosion,
when it
boom,
explodes.
done. That's pretty dope. I quite like
There
her.
are those with hatred in their hearts that are able to do what Eula has done. Take the lust for vengeance bequeathed to them by fate and channel it into a force for self-advancement. For Eula, this has set her down a path of peace and inner strength. Still,
I respect
there are
her a lot for
others
that.
For whom the passage of time does nothing to quell the poison spreading through their souls.
Wait, who's that?
Only the future will reveal the path they take. But
They
inevitably,
kind of look like Dimitri from Fire Emblem Three Houses. This trailer was very kind to her. Like, she just seems like a huge tsundere, and I really like her character. Alright, it's Kazuha's time. Apparently he's like
no one is
Yasuo
sure when they first
from League of
noticed it,
Legends.
But once in a while, from the deck of the Alcor.
Oh yeah, he's like a
flagship of
pirate now,
Emily
right? With
Crossfleet,
Beidou?
The soft sound of a flute can be heard.
Mask
Following
off.
the ocean breeze to wherever it may lead. Trace the sound back to its source, and you will see a young samurai of Inazuma calmly.
Isn't he
sitting
more a
in the
Ronin
crow's
than a
nest,
samurai?
playing a leaf flute while taking in the sights and sounds
leaf
of the
flute?
natural world. But ask the other sailors about his story, and you'll find they know little more than you. All they can tell you is he is a trainee sailor from Inazuma. His name is Kaidahara.
Trainee
Drive
sailor.
rain or winds that
He's a
churn,
pirate.
I shall return by blade alone, armed, if barefoot, to my home.
Okay.
Look at Kaidahara Kazuha and see but a young face. What they miss is a swift and deadly.
He's so
samurai
anime.
wanderer who is
I mean,
not
most
to
characters
take
are
lightly.
in this, but you know.
Kaidahara Kazuha has the ability to manipulate anime.
That was cool.
And provides an elemental damage bonus for members of his party.
Someone just called him the Canadian Traveler.
He can make
'Cause his
free use of
outfit.
Special plunging attacks that keep enemies grouped together, providing great support to his party.
That's cool.
Like a leaf on the breeze, he is light as a feather and swift as a blade. When Kaidahara Kazuha
Why
is
did
in
his
your
leaf
party,
disappear?
He reduces sprinting stamina consumption for your party members,
Okay.
making exploration faster. Kazuha's normal
That's helpful.
attack can combo up to 5 strikes that deal physical damage to
Speed on
enemies.
him.
Hold the attack button to consume a set amount of stamina. And perform 2 swift slashes to his front,
Set him
dealing
flying,
high
dude.
physical damage. While Kazuha is airborne,
Does he have a plunging?
pressing
Okay.
the attack button causes him to perform a plunging attack, damaging opponents along the path.
Does not everyone have a
dealing
plunging
AoE
attack
damage
then?
upon impact.
So it's rare, like
His elemental
Rosaria,
skill,
Kazuha.
Shinayabaru, to unleash a secret blade technique,
And Zhao.
pulling enemies and objects toward him, launching enemies within his range, and dealing animo damage.
That's ridiculous. Oh, everyone does have it. I was gonna say.
Kazuha uses the gust of wind generated in this moment to soar up into the air. For a short period after using Chihayabaru, while Kazuha remains airborne, he
Yeet.
can unleash a powerful plunging attack, Midare Ranzan.
He Thanos that guy.
Damage dealt by this plunging attack is converted to animo damage.
That's cool.
Kazuha lands, he uses another secret blade technique to create a wind tunnel that pulls in nearby enemies.
The juggling, that looks so fun.
Effect. Kazuha can concentrate enemies in one place, allowing other
Oh, that makes sense for
attack more
Yanfei's drop
efficiently.
attack.
Chihayabaru is a skill that can be used.
His is like Rivali's Gale, but on steroids, like how
giving
quickly he
Kazuha
goes up.
great agility when out exploring. When Chihayabaru is held instead of tapped, Kazuha
He looks
deals
cool.
increased animo damage over a wider area.
Like how sick is it? Like the way he even like, is it weird to say lands in the air, but the way he's like floating after he goes up? Like I love his pose.
Kazuha's elemental skill can absorb hydro, pyro, cryo, or electro when cast. If
Wait.
the Dare Ranzan plunging attack is performed
So that's what
before
that is.
Chihayabaru's effects expire.
Because I was gonna say, when he sheathed his sword, it looked like he had like a circle, almost like it was a shield. But now I see that just then it had the electro symbol in it.
It deals additional elemental damage of the absorbed element. Only one elemental absorption can occur.
See if I can see it
with
again.
Chihayabaru.
Yeah, so it was just then there as well.
Clouds hide. The birds call.
What? It looks like he turned time.
Kazuha's elemental burst is the pinnacle achievement of his self-taught blade work. He strikes with the force of the
Wait, does he
first
create a room
dealing
like
AoE
Law
animo damage.
from One
His
Piece?
attack produces a field called
Expansion domain.
The field periodically deals animo damage to enemies within it.
He makes an actual expansion domain from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Contact with hydro, pyro, cryo, or electro. It will absorb that element and deal additional elemental damage. This elemental absorption.
Oh, you really need to know about
in its duration.
the elemental matchups when you use
can
Kazuha
use
then,
the
it seems.
whirlwind field to easily affect multiple enemies with an element, creating ideal opportunities for his allies to
He looks like
attack.
a lot of fun to use.
The wind blows to all within its vast reach and knows the coming fall from the first withered leaf. For a set duration after Kazuha triggers a swirl reaction, all party members receive a damage bonus for the corresponding element.
Okay.
The bonus scales off
Yo,
of
they're switching
Kazuha's
in and out so
elemental mastery.
quickly.
If
I wonder if there's an
multiple
ability that allows you to
bonuses
switch in
are
characters
gained in this
quicker.
manner, they are applied concurrently. Kaidahara Kazuha has roamed far and wide and is acutely sensitive to changes in the natural environment.
Okay.
When the way ahead is rocky, his mastery of animo allows him to swiftly turn the tide of the battle, guiding the whole party to victory. In combat,
He looks so innocent but epic at the same time. You can switch every second?
Then, he uses his elemental skill to gain control over the opponents,
So there's no cooldown.
here and there with powerful plunging attacks to keep them where he wants them, while also activating Poetics of Fubutsu, which provides elemental damage bonuses, enhancing the whole party's attack capabilities. When energy is full, Kaidahara Kazuha unleashes his elemental burst, generating an
The more I'm watching this,
The
it
field
kind of
creates the
reminds
perfect
me
conditions
of
for elemental
Tales of
reactions,
Arise.
turning your party
And the
into a
gameplay
force
mechanics
to
from
be
there.
reckoned with.
Is it possible to send out characters as
Kaidahara
support?
Kazuha is no aimless wanderer. He has a deep sense of purpose. The young samurai left his homeland
Like not
behind
switching in and
not
out.
to part with the past, but in the search for a new hope.
We see you, Luke Skywalker.
As he navigates his path, he charts a course through the myriad of storms that come his way.
Oh, you can't. Okay.
His
So you can't use
exposure to the
supports.
elements keeps him in touch with nature and connects him with other people who cross his path. Those who choose to defy the
Look how
gods
epic
are
they look
destined
together.
for hardship. But even a maple leaf blowing in the breeze, if it falls into the right company, can learn to sail the storm winds of the sea to shores beyond the
Oh,
horizon.
pirate samurai. Yeah, Kazuha looks really cool. He looks like he's got a lot to work with. He seems like a character that's either, if you know what's going on, can be technical, But if you don't, you can still just use his attacks and be strong anyway. Alright, so it's Ayaka time.
In Inazuma City, the
Our
Shirasagi
Hime with the
Himegimi
swords.
is a name known to all. Those fortunate enough to meet Kamisato Ayaka in person describe her as the princess of the Kamisato clan. Graceful and dignified as a snow crane.
Oh, look at all her fans.
Kind and gentle like a dove. She brings joy and hope to everyone she meets.
I believe you.
The other
Apart from her enemies on the battlefield.
is, of course, martial prowess. So when Kamisato Ayaka draws her blade and assumes a fighting stance,
How's
her
she
opponents
smiling while
should
at
beware.
battle?
Kamisato Ayaka, present.
Yo, I just realized there's kind of like samurai like hairpin in the
Master in
back.
Kamisato art
Awesome
of
design.
Taijutsu, Kamisato Ayaka has honed her blade work to the pinnacle of proficiency. She combines
Oh,
swift and
it's the same as
agile strikes
Kazuha, where you
with
can
power
see
of
the
karma to fight back against those
ability on the
who
side.
she's
Is that the same
against.
with all sword users? Or just all Genshin characters in
As
general? I might have
the
missed that until
Yashiro
now.
Commission's Kamisato clan, Ayaka is versed in a variety of art forms. Her expertise in the art of the sword includes knowledge of advanced weaponry. When Ayaka crafts weapon ascension materials, she has a certain chance to receive
Oh, she has
the
double.
product.
That's cool.
Ayaka's normal attack can combo up to 5 strikes that deal physical
Whoa,
damage
she
to
looks so
enemies.
quick and fun. Oh, it's an Inazuma swordsman type thing. Okay, that
Consumes a
makes
set
sense.
amount of stamina to perform the EI technique, unleashing a series of blade winds that deal physical damage to enemies.
That's so sick, dude.
When Ayaka
It's like
sprints, she
Roronoa
cloaks
Zoro
herself in
Shishi
frozen
Son.
fog,
I love EI
consuming
moves.
stamina to move as a rapid torrent.
Beyblade enemy.
While in her Senho state, Ayaka can travel swiftly over water.
How does she
When
become
leaves
ice?
Senho state and reappears, she applies the cryo element to nearby enemies.
Was it Kokomi that can become water as well? I can't remember which character that was.
The cryo infusion converts Kamisato Ayaka's attack damage to cryo damage.
Froze my boy on the spot.
After unlocking the talent Kanten Senmyo Blessing, if the cryo energy
Oh, it was
released
Mona.
by
Thank you, guys. It was
Kamisato
Mona that
Ayaka's
could become
comes into
water.
contact with an enemy, Ayaka will regain some stamina. Additionally, she will gain a temporary cryo damage bonus.
She looks so small, but like
These skills allows
quick and
Kamisato
powerful.
Ayaka to move freely around the battlefield.
I think if I got her, I'd really enjoy using her for
This
sure.
Possible position. A flick of the wrist with the poise of a dancer.
Look at the flick of the wrist with a fan.
Tapping Ayaka's elemental skills.
Honestly, it makes sense having a fan with ice and blow the cold air on him.
Enemies and dealing AoE cryo damage. After unlocking the talent Amatsumi Kunitsumi Sanctification for a short duration after casting
Damn, say that 5
Kamisato
times fast.
Kyoka, Kamisato Ayaka's normal and charged attacks deal increased damage.
Okay.
Kamisato art, Sumetsu!
I love her use of the fans too, though.
The
That's so
frost with
sick.
flawless poise, releasing a frost flake Seki no To that travels forward. The frost
How
flake
how long did that go on for? Does it stop?
that slashes repeatedly at enemies, dealing cryo damage and blooming at the end of its duration, dealing a further
Oh,
bout
whoa.
of AoE cryo damage.
But that looked like her enemy was doing AoE damage too.
Battle,
Did her
Kamisato
attack fend it
Ayaka
off,
is the
or?
picture of elegance. Her own bladework philosophy adds finesse to Kamisato Art's Tachijutsu. With the choreography of a crane in the snow, she defeats her foes in a dance of frost.
I thought cranes were more a Liyue thing though.
Ayaka enters her Senho state, then swiftly draws near to her enemies to launch her attack. The versatile range of cryo abilities at her disposal creates opportunities to coordinate.
Could you imagine actually on the battlefield someone just flying around as
control
ice?
over her enemies, then
Like she seems like a
alternate normal
menace.
and charged attacks to
Did
take
you
her
try and
down
chase her and you
by
just
one.
slip?
When energy is full, Kamisato Ayaka unleashes her elemental burst to deal further damage and clean up the field.
It would be really cool if they added kind of like a slip ability.
When Inazuma locals discuss the Yashiro Commission, they are full of praise for Kamisato Ayaka's cordial manner and sincerity of speech at social gatherings. When the name Shirasagi Himegimi is uttered, it is done so in tribute to her flawless etiquette and impeccable character.
She is very pretty.
But what can anyone know of how Ayaka views herself in her innermost being?
Ooh.
As the princess of the Yashiro Commission's Kamisato clan,
Oh, it's gonna be like
shoulders her
Encanto,
family's
Louisa?
duty to cherish the aspirations of
A
ordinary.
lot of pressure on her.
But she also has dreams of her own that she holds dear. Perhaps the thing that she really needs is a companion on her journey, with whom to share a pot of tea and to play a game of Go.
Oh, is she lonely? That's sad.
And with whom to stand shoulder to
Yeah.
shoulder when it comes time to draw her blade.
Oh, I want to learn more about her. She seems like such a... I don't want to say interesting in a similar way to somebody like Ganyu, but I just want to learn more about her. And wait, so is the narrator right now Yuri Lowenthal? I don't know how I didn't pick up and recognize his voice until you guys mentioned it just now. What the hell? All right, it's Yoimiya time, the firework
If
queen.
you ever make it to Inazuma and ask the locals what to see while you're there, nearly everyone you talk to will emphatically
Little Shiba
recommend a
dog.
fireworks display. Like shooting stars in reverse, they fly up into the night. Then
Shooting
burst into
stars
color,
in reverse.
filling
I
the
never
night
considered them to be
skies
that until
and
now.
the faces of those
That was
watching
beautiful.
below.
Oh, look how cute she
This
is.
short but dazzling spectacle is all the work of one woman, Inazuma's most skilled fireworks expert, Yoimiya.
Wholesome.
Let me give this shooting fireworks straight into the skies with a bow business a shot.
You probably should not do that.
In
Unless that's your
Yoimiya's
attack, then
capable
sure.
hands, her spectacular fireworks are not just the grand finale of a festival. They also make highly potent weapons for protecting her
Ridiculous.
friends and fighting her foes.
She's shooting
And
off
no one has
fireworks
a
from a
flair
bow
for
and arrow,
firing
actually.
Fireworks quite like her.
That's really cool, though. It's beautiful. It's really interesting
Yoimiya's
character
handiwork
design
is exquisite, and she
in terms of her
dabbles in many
abilities.
other crafts besides firework making, always adding her unique touch to all her work. When Yoimiya crafts decorations, ornaments, and landscape furnishings, a portion of the materials used will be refunded.
That makes sense.
Her normal attack can combo up to
There we
5
go. So
consecutive
regular bow and arrow. Oh,
shots
she's doing
of physical
flips,
damage.
though. She looks pretty sick.
Holding the attack button executes a more precise aimed shot that deals increased damage.
I remember doing this tutorial-wise with
Based on
Amber.
the charge time, the aimed shot generates different effects.
Yo, why does it look like Doctor Strange's rings?
Off a flaming arrow that deals pyro damage.
Like she's about to shoot out the Avengers.
Charge level 2, depending on the exact charging time. The aimed
That's
shot
pretty
generates
sick.
up to 3 kindling arrows when she releases it. Kindling arrows home in on nearby.
I was about to say, how did she accurately hit them all, but it homes in?
Tap Yoimiya's elemental skill, and she waves a spark.
Also, that enemy reminded me of Rosaria.
Causing a ring of saltpeter to surround her and sending her into the Niwabi Ensho.
Niwabi Ensho state, huh?
During this time, arrows fired by
I
Yoimiya
see. Okay, so it makes all her regular attacks pyro.
increasing their damage and converting the attacks to pyro damage. However, during Niwabi
I need to
Ensho,
see an epic
Yoimiya's
Genshin battle with all the characters.
firework flare-up will not generate kindling arrows at charge level 2.
Oh, that was a
After
big
unlocking
hit.
the talent Tricks of the Troublemaker, during Yoimiya's elemental skill duration, when her normal attack hits an enemy, she gains a stackable pyro damage bonus, which
Okay.
lasts for 3 seconds.
That doesn't sound like long, but I guess if you combo it with another one of her abilities, then
Here come the fireworks!
nice.
Yoimiya leaps into the air together.
So is it
with
just
her
one
original
shot? It
creation,
must do more.
Yukine Saxifrage, firing forth blazing rockets bursting with surprises. That
Oh,
deal AoE
okay.
pyro
So what's this now?
and mark one of the hit enemies with Aurus Blaze.
So I guess that's Aurus Blaze.
All attacks by any party member other than Yoimiya that hit an enemy marked by Aurus Blaze will trigger explosions, dealing AoE pyro damage.
Is it only one hit?
If the enemy
Or does it
affected by
continuously
Aurus
do it?
Blaze is defeated before it expires,
Does it
the
explode?
effect will pass on to another
Oh, that's
nearby
cool.
enemy who will inherit the remaining duration.
So it's not wasted then. That's pretty
Aurus
sick.
Blaze explosions are subject to a short cooldown. After
You can
unlocking the
continually do it, but it's on
Accelerate
cooldown.
Stone,
That's
for a
ridiculous.
short duration after casting Yoimiya's elemental burst, nearby party members other than Yoimiya herself gain an attack bonus. This bonus is
I love the
based on
fireworks
the
sound effect
Tricks
too.
of the Troublemaker stacks Yoimiya possesses when she unleashes her elemental burst.
Kaya just mashing it up.
Vision, Yoimiya has more than one way of playing with fire. This power takes her skills.
That enemy looks pretty cool.
Level,
Is that like a boss?
turning even her arrows into fireworks that send sparks flying all
This
over
music
the
is so nice, by the way.
In battle, Yoimiya
This has to be a
begins by
boss.
using her elemental skill to enter the Niwabi-Ensho state. Then she engages the enemy with enhanced normal attacks.
This a training dummy?
Using tricks of the Troublemaker to stack up a pyro damage bonus.
Ooh.
When Niwabi-Ensho ends, if her energy is full, she unleashes her elemental burst to further pressure the enemy. Then leaves the field, supporting the rest of her team with an attack bonus and pyro damage.
I guess this is when I asked if they do support earlier, I guess this is how they do support, right? Like they have continuous abilities that move on when they're not on the field.
Explosions in the sky fade away. Breathless spectators find their friends and leave. But Yoimiya is already busy preparing for the next display. It is a time-honored routine, unchanging night after night.
They have fireworks every night?
Everyone in Inazuma looks forward to the splendid sight of her latest creations.
What is the air like over there?
After a brief moment, the dazzling flashes fade and the crowds are gone. After hundreds of years, this sight is nothing new to me. But who's to
Hundreds
say
of years.
that
Is it
brief moments of
Dainslev? How
splendor
old is this
can't
guy?
become everlasting memories? But
Definitely
God,
interested to find
pursues
out more about
eternity,
him when I play.
has yet to realize that not all that endures is constant. Time can keep fireworks in people's minds long after they've faded. Just as, once in a while, it can send stars fixed high above, plummeting down to the ground.
Bless her. She seems quite fun to play. Honestly, I can't think of any characters so far that don't seem super fun to play. And considering I don't like bow and arrow users, and I had this kind of issue with Ganyu, I think it's just the visuals that make Yoimiya look entertaining to play, you know? Okay, so we have Sayu, aka Lily Pichu, who is also Sonic the Hedgehog.
Under the veil of night, stealthily conducting their mission in the shadows.
I love
As
that she's a
such,
ninja.
People tend to let their imaginations regarding ninjas run wild, filching objects in a flash, vanishing without a trace, and laying poisonous traps.
Now
Such
she's
skills
out
are
here
necessary
clobbering
to be
fools.
worthy of the ninja title, but in the eyes of Ninja Sayu, no matter how profound the art of ninjutsu may be, it is to be used but for a single purpose: slacking off.
That's not what I
To this ninja who never passes on an opportunity to be lazy,
I didn't expect
the
that.
stirring of the leaves is
I
not
thought it was
the
going to say about being
opportune
flashy
diversion
like
to strike
Tengen
back. Rather,
from
it's
Demon
a
Slayer.
favorable time to slip away for a nice nap.
Look how cute run.
Sayu, Shumatsuban at your disposal. Phew. But if you don't need me right now, I'm gonna.
Oh, she's an animo user. That makes sense.
Sayu is the Shumatsuban's resident ninja, and
She
the
even
last
has a leaf
successor
on her
of
head.
Uhu art.
But
She
people are saying
uses
she's
the
not a
power of
Tanuki,
Anemo
right?
to swiftly move across the battlefield, and wields a claymore much heavier than herself.
Female Shikamaru? That's a good call.
As a master slacker, Sayu's most adept
Master
ninjutsu
slacker.
technique is the art of holding her breath.
So she can't be found?
When
Or
Sayu
like,
is in the
what?
party, your
That takes a lot of
characters can
effort, holding your
approach
breath.
crystal flies, lizards, and other certain animals without startling them.
Oh, I see. Creeping up on them so that
Sayu's
you can
normal
catch them.
attack
That makes
can
sense.
Combo up to 4 strikes, dealing physical damage to enemies. Holding the attack steadily consumes stamina. While Sayu spins
She
her
looks like a
claymore,
little powerhouse.
dealing
It's so
physical
funny.
damage to nearby enemies. Once Sayu stops spinning her blade, she unleashes a more powerful.
She
spark
definitely won that
that
Beyblade
launches
match.
smaller
She was going
enemies
for
within her
ages.
range. Tap Sayu's
She
elemental
started
skill to perform a
again.
special ninjutsu
There are her
technique,
attacks
the
either
Fufu
spinning
Arm.
sideways or
Sayu curls
rolling
up and
around.
enters the Fufu wind wheel state and rolls
Fufu
forward for a
wind
certain
wheel.
distance, smashing into opponents at high speed, dealing animo damage. When the skill ends, Sayu performs a Fufu whirlwind kick, dealing
Oh, that's an
animo
epic little
damage.
kick.
Holding her elemental skill, casts Yuhu Art Fuin Dash, causing Sayu
Let's
to
go,
roll
Sonic.
continuously in the Fufu wind wheel state, increasing Sayu's resistance.
Fufu is like
to
Japanese for like
interruption
blowing,
state.
right? It's like a blowing sound or like wind.
Sayu can control the direction of her roll.
Death by
and uses
Fufu.
the skill again to end her wind wheel
That was
state
funny.
early. Upon ending it, she unleashes a stronger version of the Fufu whirlwind kick,
Does it go on for
dealing a
longer,
single
maybe?
instance of AoE animo damage.
Oh, no, okay.
The longer Sayu remains in her wind wheel state, the longer the skill's cooldown will become.
That makes sense. That's fair.
After holding
So you don't
the
abuse it,
elemental
right?
skill and entering the wind wheel state.
Use it. I bet people just use this to
Comes into
travel
contact
constantly,
with
though.
Hydro, pyro, cryo, or electro. Elemental absorption will occur, causing her
To absorb an element.
and deal additional elemental damage of that.
That's cool. That's
Elemental
cool.
absorption may only occur once per use of this skill. With adept use of Fufu wind wheel state, Sayu can swiftly roll across the battlefield to trigger swirl reactions in tandem with other party members.
That's really
In the
clever. I
open
like
world,
that.
Sayu can make use of her Fufu wind wheel to quickly cover
Yeah.
distances,
Okay. So you got and then you just switch out to whoever you want to use.
Jutsu.
So you use her to get across the places quicker.
to
That's
deal
so
animo
funny.
damage to nearby opponents, as well as heal all nearby party members. The amount of HP restored is based on Sayu's attack. Additionally, Sayu
Wait.
performs another ninjutsu
Yoo-hoo
technique
art?
of the Yoo-hoo art.
Yoo-hoo, big
summoning
summer blow
Sayu's
heart.
trusty helper, Muji Muji Daruma.
Oh, it's a Daruma. That's what it is. The little bear.
Muji Muji Daruma will take one of several actions based on the situation around.
Like Darumaka, the Pokemon.
If the HP of nearby
You know, like the little
characters is
dolls?
relatively high, it will attack a nearby opponent, dealing animo damage.
That's cool that it stays on the field there. Like, this is almost like the support I was asking about earlier.
Percentage. It will heal the character with the lowest HP percentage left.
That's
The
cool.
amount of HP restored is
That's
based
actually really
on
helpful.
Sayu's attack.
Imagine combining this
Nearby,
with
and
all the
it
other
offers some
abilities that your
healing
characters have.
characters. Even if the characters already have relatively high percentages of HP. After unlocking
way it
the
hops.
talent No Work Today, when Muji Muji Daruma heals a character,
Look
it
at
will
Jing.
also heal a certain percentage of
Oh, that's
HP
cute
for
too.
other nearby characters on the battlefield. And when it attacks opponents, it will have an increased AoE.
Okay.
Perhaps in Sayu's heart, being neither eye-catching
This
nor
music going hard, by the
strength.
way.
She feels that her teammates are better suited for tackling the tasks ahead.
Oh, she's about to hit him in the crotch. Oh, she's not. Oh.
Sayu can ensure they stay fit for combat. When Sayu triggers a swirl reaction on the battlefield, she will regenerate HP
Ooh.
for your characters in the party and all nearby allied characters. Additionally, the amount
This
of
is
healing
so
will
hectic.
also benefit from Sayu's elemental.
In the best of ways.
This effect can occur only once per set time period. Though it may seem that Sleepy Sayu is always slacking off, she is still quite loyal to her commitments, or to put it another way, inescapable duties,
Inescapable
rolls nimbly
duties.
across the
She's
battlefield.
basically Shikamaru.
providing reliable support to her teammates.
I like how she just looks so
In combat,
done with life as
Sayu
she's doing all that.
relies on her Fufu wind wheel to move swiftly, quickly closing the distance on her enemies and crashing into them to trigger swirl reactions,
Right?
while simultaneously providing healing for her team. When energy is full, Sayu can unleash her
is that
elemental
Jiang Ling,
force to
right?
summon Muji Muji Daruma.
So,
Whether it's to heal her
her
team
bear
or
can
to
stay out
increase
too?
damage against her opponents.
also somebody just pointed out, that's a good point. Choji and Shikamaru together.
Protect Sayu's precious companions. Striving for the dreams of your youthhood is an admirable thing indeed. Only by improving yourself can you
Are you
face the
spying right now,
vicissitudes of
Sayu?
life. And when it comes to improving yourself, whether it's sharpening your combat skills or simply trying to grow taller, to the young, anything worth striving for is a truly valuable endeavor. Now that I think about it, I too was probably once that way.
Oh, Daneleaf, what
Naive,
happened?
Persistent and untiring. I'm only joking, of
Oh.
course. I've long forgotten the happenings of hundreds of years ago.
Sayu probably has the longest collected miscellany, and I can see why, because she has a lot going on. She seems like so much fun, though, just rolling around. We have Raiden Shogun, aka
In the eyes of
the chat's calling her Booba Sword, so...
Raiden Shogun is not only an archon, but also a symbol. She is their superior leader who embodies eternal thunder and radiance.
So is it like a title?
The almighty Narukami
Raiden Shogun, because she's Shogun, that's a
Protector
title.
of Inazuma. Little do they know that the current ruler of Inazuma, the Raiden Shogun, residing high
She
up
looks
in
so
Tenjoku,
cool.
is no longer the same Archon.
But that looked like a spear. I thought she had a sword.
From the Archon War.
The campaign
Was that the... She was standing on the Cave of Wonders from Aladdin. And of course she's Electra.
Shogun is a martial artist in pursuit of perfection, with a sole goal of achieving eternity. No matter who stands in the way to eternal euthymia, they have no chance against the divine punishment that shines down with her bidding.
It's like the rain doesn't affect her at all.
Who originated the Inazuman art of sword and polearm, as well as
sword and polearm, so she can use both.
When ascending swords and polearms, the amount of mora spent by the Raiden Shogun will be decreased. The Raiden Shogun's normal attack can combo.
Look how, dude, they all look so quick, and I love that. I love that kind of combat in games.
The attack button consumes a set amount of stamina to perform an upward slash, dealing physical damage.
Okay.
Despite claiming to be detached from the mortal world, perhaps the Raiden Shogun...
See, I remember that shot before, when she had the bird.
She accrues the aspirations of all living creatures for her chakra desiderata.
Chakra? Is that what that's called?
Members other than her use their elemental bursts.
Like in general? Because I've seen Enel from One Piece have one of those.
Based on the energy cost of the bursts used. Then, use up all the resolve accrued to empower her next elemental burst.
Look at her with that ball of electricity.
By chakra desiderata will dissipate once the Shogun is out of combat for a set time. The exalted Archon devoted to eternity. What caused her to stop in her tracks and listen to the wishes of her people?
What's her passive?
Unlocking the talent wishes unnumbered, the elemental orbs and particles collected by nearby party members will grant additional resolve for chakra desiderata.
So she seems more like a support than anything, actually. Also, I misspoke when I said passive just then.
Upon tapping her elemental skill, the Raiden Shogun unveils
an eye?
Shard of her euthymia, dealing electro damage to nearby opponents, and granting nearby party members the Eye of Stormy Judgment.
Interesting. So what is that?
Characters carrying it attack and deal damage to opponents. The Eye of Stormy Judgment will unleash a coordinated attack.
That's ridiculous. So she can double up attack, basically.
The characters who gained the Eye
She gives you an extra attack.
will have their elemental burst damage increased, based on the
That's cool.
cost of the elemental bursts unleashed. Thanks to the Eye of Stormy Judgment, the Raiden Shogun can aid her teammates.
Oh, so this works well in co-op.
battlefield,
Interesting.
boosting their offensive capabilities.
Now you shall perish.
There's the sword.
Gathering truths unnumbered and the resolve of wishes uncounted. The Raiden Shogun unleashes the Musa.
Oh my god, dude. So she changes from polearm to sword with her burst. That makes sense.
Combat for a certain duration afterward. The damage dealt by Musou no Hitotachi and Musou Ishin's attacks is based on the
I love that
number of
scene.
chakra
That's so funny.
desiderata's resolve stacks consumed when this skill is used. While using Musou Ishin,
Ooh, look at that enemy.
the Shogun's normal, charged, and plunging attacks will be regarded as elemental burst damage and will be infused with.
Oh man, she kind of reminds me of like a Keqing
When such attacks
in some ways
she
after
will
using her
generate
burst.
energy for all nearby party members.
It's the way she's flashing around like Zenitsu from Demon Slayer.
While in this state, the Raiden Shogun's resistance to interruption is increased, and she is
Nice.
immune to electrocharge damage.
I thought she was Jesus for a sec. Was she walking on water?
Talent Enlightened One. If the Shogun's energy recharge surpasses a certain value, the surplus energy recharge...
Was that her attack or Keqing's attack? I know I just mentioned them being similar, but like that threw me for a sec.
More energy restoration while in Musou Ishin.
Okay, this is Keqing's.
The Raiden Shogun can accelerate the elemental burst rotation of her party while making the elemental bursts of her teammates more powerful. Such a seasoned leader like her
see.
remains fearless in the face of any encounter.
Yeah, a lot of her abilities support the team really well, it
Stormy
seems.
Judgment to help teammates in difficult
I love that attack.
when her teammates unleash elemental bursts or collect elemental orbs or particles. The Shogun gains more resolve for chakra desiderata.
The term elemental burst has been bugging me all day, and I'm just now realizing because I know it from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Wait for an opportune moment to unleash Musou no Hitotachi to deal lethal damage.
There we go.
And enter Musou Ishin to clean up the battlefield while regenerating energy for the whole party.
I was wondering whether or not she staggered the enemy or not.
that will strike foes down as fast as lightning.
Like, can you interrupt enemy attacks the same way they can to
In the
you?
Dark Sea, Inazuma has witnessed many a war. For the pursuit of eternity and the prosperity of Inazuma, the Raiden Shogun stuck stubbornly to her path. But what let some bloom made others wither. There
Is
is
she all
no
about
pain
power?
without the pain of loss. When facing their fears, Archons and mortals are all the same.
Okay.
Yet Archons
So she must be an
are
Archon then, because they said
by
used to the
attempting
mortal
grasp
world.
the heavenly principles, she
It seems
brought a
fairly obvious
disaster
she is.
upon mortals. Perhaps some may say that I'm overstating what happened, but I'm just speaking from experience after all.
I guess so. He is also an older man, you could say. Also, please don't spoil me on story stuff in the chat or the comments. I'm just kind of speaking through my thoughts. I don't want answers until I play the game.